Hey, what's up? Janko here. So I just wanted to do something and accidental complexity got completely in the way. So I thought, let's make the best of it and actually record this accidental complexity and how I dealt with it. You can see that the output in this little video I just uploaded. So you might want to check it out. I showcase a couple of tools and it's also a bit funny and a bit silly. So you might enjoy it, you might not. I'd appreciate it if you took a look. But what I actually wanted to do is to respond to a comment of one of my viewers. And Jelle basically asked after my last video where I showcased how to create a little Christmas calendar app with Bold, if I knew of some tool or way where I would take over a bit of the data analysis or data analytics part, and ideally also put the insights into slides that he could go and take and go into the next meeting. And he also asked about the voice typing tool that I used, Wispr Flow, if that was capable of also supporting languages other than German, and also how stuff like that is available on Windows and Android as well. And I thought it would be cool to not just respond with a comment, but actually to do a little video on this topic or those questions. And as usual, this is not scripted. I didn't try out any of the stuff before. So there might be hiccups. Just bear with me. And we take it from there, I guess. So one of the tools that tackles kind of like the slide part of the question that I really like is Gamma. I came across Gamma about a year ago, maybe a bit earlier, and Gamma kind of brought back the fun, if you want to call it like that, if there actually exists something like fun in creating slide decks. I don't like PowerPoint. If I have to use it, I use it. Obviously, I'm quite good at it as well, but I don't like it. And this tool here, gamma.app, that's the URL, is actually brought back some of the fun in creating slide decks. So you can actually we start out completely fresh to choose a theme. If you find one of the themes that they created appealing, then go ahead. I didn't, so I created my own. It's not the best theme in the world, but it's closer to my color scheme, and I kind of felt it felt okay. So this is data analysis meets slides. And the cool thing, is you can use AI that's built into this tool basically, right? So we can just say, or we can voice type, I need to create a, sorry. Let's do that again. Please create a slide where you show a bar chart with some random data that comes from the domain or use case of being a sneaker, shoe, apparel company. And then you get a bar chart, obviously with fake data. You can click into the chart and then edit the data. And this is, I think, where the whole UX kind of like falls short, or the pipeline, because you cannot, I think, to my knowledge, potential skill issue here, but that you cannot upload any data, but you need to manually enter them. For example, we can make the 1.5 million to, 1.8 million, for example, and then the bar chart immediately updates, but you cannot upload anything programmatically. You could also change the line type or the bar chart type, the chart type, but also you can see there's only the basic stuff that's available here. So this is okay-ish for quick stuff, but probably not up to the task for like enterprise grade presentations, in case you want to use the functionality for the graphing functionality that's built in. It does, however, have a lot of cool other functionality to make creating slide decks quite fast and easy. You can see if you type /, then you have lots of stuff that's available. For example, I like timelines. Let's do a one-sided timeline. And then you have some demo content here. You can create a step. You can also change it to timeline with, what is it? A funnel, for example, is also something that's used quite often. Oh yeah, here it was timeline. Oh, sorry. I misclicked, if that's a thing. You can have it like this. You can have numbers, yes and no. You can have it horizontal or vertical. So stuff like that is quite easy to do, and I think easier and faster to do than, for example, in PowerPoint. The thing where it shines is the integrations with lots of tools. For example, if you scroll down, you see you can immediately create GIFs. I like GIFs, or GIFs. I say GIFs for some reason. The Office, dancing. Let's see if we can find one of my favorite dances or scenes from The Office. You can easily align that to be in the center. Then what's next? We can showcase. You can embed entire websites here, PDF documents, YouTube or Loom videos, lots of stuff, right? Forms, for example, Google Drive overview of your Google Drive, Miro Boards, and so on and so forth, right? We can maybe showcase that because I have this publicly available board that is basically attached to my videos. And then you can create that here. I thought there was also an embedded version of this, but click action, preview, button, embed. That's what I was looking for. So you can actually, hopefully, see the board. Maybe we need to go to presenter mode in order to do so. Seems like it. No, there seems to be an issue. No, there it is. Cool. So now we are in the board, but in an embedded style. So if I click the button here, the cross here, or escape, then we get out of it. And obviously I have a really big screen. So this is kind of like, might feel a bit too much or too big, but it all depends on your screen, obviously. The cool thing you might also notice is that there is no fixed margin for one particular slide. So slides can be as deep or short or long, depending on the content. What's also really cool, we could put this GIF stuff into a nested, we can work with nested cards. And then I hope I can move that easily. That's always, yeah, seems like it. The Office. And then we can collapse it here. And then we have our nested card with the Miro board embedded, which is also collapsed. And then when you go back to presenting, you see that the cards are collapsed first, and then you can decollapse it or uncollapse it or whatever the heck that's called in English. And yeah, kind of structure your content a bit more or your slide a bit more with that. I really like that. And you can also step through this with your keyboard. So as you see with my arrow keys, I am on a nested card here. And when I hit enter, I kind of enter the nested card. If I hit enter again, I'm going out of the card again, and then you have to watch a little bit where the box is at. So what's actually highlighted is where you are at, and yeah. So this is another way of moving around, and then maybe to round things off here, if you scroll all the way down, you got yeah, you got a lot of external tools, Power BI, Office 365, Google Forms, and stuff like that. And you also can, as you've seen, continue writing with AI. Then you can actually, what was that? Edit with AI. So the AI just created something. That's usually not something that's really that really helps me. And now how did I do that? Visualize, condense text, expand text. Yeah, expanding text. So on the right-hand side, you have the option to engage with the AI on a like deeper level, basically, right? To take ideas from it. For example, change this card. Describe how the Office TV show and Miro Boards go together. And then obviously this is just something, right? It tries to obviously follow my prompt and tries to come up with something that connects the Office and Miro, which is kind of like hard to do. Yeah, so your mileage may vary with all AI tools, but it's worth trying it out. And if you it kind of prevents the blank page syndrome when you need to come up with something like a complete new presentation to maybe structure your slide content or your entire presentation with the help of AI. So the next thing that I wanted to show and try is if, like, usually all tools eventually fall short because they don't do exactly what you want. That's the story of my life, at least. And I was always fascinated by going out and trying to create the stuff I want to see and I want to use myself. Not saying I'm completely succeeding with that, but I created a couple of tools, and let's just try some. If we can manage to do something close to what Jelle actually asked for, with the help of Claude, because Claude has something really cool. I actually never got around to using it. It's the first thing is projects, and the second thing is artifacts. And I think projects is kind of clear. So we created a project, data analysis meets slides. And then we're in the UI of Claude. And I actually never used the artifacts before, the artifacts feature. Let's just try to how far we go. And then I explain what artifacts actually is. We want to create, let's voice type this, an app that takes some example data that are suited for data analysis and data analytics, and then actually perform some data analysis on it and put the results into nice looking slides. If possible, PowerPoint. If not, maybe Google Slides. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. We want to create an app that takes some example data. Let's be a sports apparel company. That's the use case or the domain that we are operating in. I don't know why I chose that, but somehow. Okay, so we say save instructions, and then I would like you to create a couple of dummy data, example data, based on the use case that we just wrote down in the custom instructions. And then we need to showcase, or we need to create an app where the AI, goes and does some data analysis / data analytics on those dummy data, and then puts the output or the insights of that into a slide deck that the user can then download, ideally PowerPoint. If not possible, then maybe Google Slides is possible. And I want to use artifacts for that. Use your artifacts feature for that. that looks about right. Let's make this a bit easier to read. Download ideally PowerPoint. If not possible, then maybe Google Slides. Let's put that here. I don't know. Let's maybe make this explanatory and use Claude 3.5 Sonnet because that's a really good model for this. And we could add content here. I actually have never, I'm new to Claude. I come from OpenAI's ChatGPT or using the API a lot. And what should happen, and that's artifacts, basically what you're seeing. You probably are familiar if you have used ChatGPT to have a conversation with the AI. That's what was shown first. But then, since we asked it to create an actual app, the monitor split into two halves. And basically, like in the video that I showcased where we used Bolt, on the left-hand side, there's the conversation, and we can interact with the model. On the right-hand side, we use the artifacts feature. And the artifacts feature basically gives the model a canvas or a possibility to create code and to render the output of that code. So if you write code, you usually want to create an app. And if it's a web app, then you write HTML and CSS, and then you can render that in a browser to actually be able to use it with your mouse and look at it. And hopefully it's somewhat nice to look at, obviously. So let's see. This is basically already the AI trying to come up with slides, obviously. That's the code for it. That's a bit much for now. Let's quickly read through so I understand what he did, what it did. And data generator. Okay, data generator. Let's just try something here. Can we maybe have different screens? I think 2 would suffice for the beginning. One where we actually can control the data generation process and maybe see some data analytics results. And then the second screen would actually take the results that we wanted to have in the presentation and then create the slides for the presentation. Let's start with that. I want to also add check marks or check boxes so we can kind of select which bar chart or which data analysis result we actually want to carry over to our slides. But as you can see, and this is my main takeaway that I want to hopefully get across, is we are living through times where you can actually try to create the stuff you want to have on your own. Obviously, this kind of breaks down when you actually want to use it in your company, or you need to have a really open-minded company because it's really new. It's not baked into anything. That being said, maybe a second point in between the point I actually wanted to get to. Microsoft and Google do have their Copilot stuff going on, and they try to bake in AI into all of their products, all of their Office 365 products. It's I think Microsoft definitely calls it Copilot. I'm not sure how Google is calling it. Failed to load, try fixing it. So if you really want to, or if your company is operating in really tight IT infrastructure or IT limitations, basically, where you as a user can only use the tools that basically come from Microsoft or are licensed by your IT department, which I know are a lot of you out there, then you're probably better off with trying out to understand what Copilot offers you, for example, with Microsoft. But if you have a bit more leeway and are a bit more flexible, then I would encourage everyone to actually try out to put ideas into apps. Not with the goal of taking this exact app and making it run in your company, but to kind of meet maybe your developers halfway. And who knows, maybe you want to learn how to code as well, and then you can actually iterate on your idea and maybe use it as an internal tool. So what we now ended up with is a tool that has two tabs, basically. One, data analytics, and we can say, okay, start date, a couple of stuff that we can input. We could elaborate on this, but then we just say generate data, and it should, hopefully, it doesn't generate new data, so that's something we need to fix. The data should actually update. But you can see we have a revenue chart, a line chart, and a customer demographics chart, a bar chart. And we can say add to presentation, and then I wonder what happens if we, for example, now, so we selected those. So I'm assuming that if we deselect this and go back to the create presentation screen, yeah, then it's only revenue analysis that remains. So let's now add the demographics analysis chart back to it and say generate presentation. And this doesn't work yet. So I would come back and say the data generation process button actually doesn't do anything yet. So please check that. And also the generate presentation button doesn't really go and take the charts and puts it into the slides yet. Please also fix that. But this is also already kind of nice, right? It's not nicely styled yet, but this is something that you can basically do after the fact. And what we get to here is basically a working wireframe or proof of concept or like a functional prototype in a way of your idea or the basic idea of taking data, doing data analysis on it, and putting the results into a slide deck of some sort. I'm assuming that the exporting of this as a PowerPoint slide deck will probably not be possible, but let's see. We might be surprised. Sometimes going the way of Google Slides might help because that might be easier to do because it's all browser-based. Let's see. Right, and maybe coming back to, is this usable in my company? As I said, right, I'm trying not to. I don't like the hype cycle or the hype train that is going on with AI. I really like what AI is doing, but I think it's also important to showcase or shine light on the opportunities and have that mindset of, hey, what is possible? What can we do with this? At the one side, but on the other side, also clearly call out limitations or like keeping it real, right? And obviously, this is always kind of like a moving thing to balance those two dimensions out. Period. So it depends on your use case. It depends on your company, on the willingness to try out and to tinker with new technology. If stuff like this actually could be usable in your day-to-day. And for most companies, there's still stuff that needs to happen to make this actually happen within your company, right? Because stuff like data privacy and maintainability. So obviously, if you come up with something like that, then someone needs to maintain it so it doesn't break down. But I think it's kind of clear. So let's see. Now we hit the generate data button. Then only the data appears, which is good. Let's just change something here. Let's go back to January or whatever, June of 2022. And then we also have that in there, right? Not much else we can tweak, but that didn't work before. Now it works. And then we also see the charts being included into our presentation. The slides look a bit different. And the presentation is still nothing seems to happen when we hit the generate presentation button. So the presentation does not contain individual slides anymore. So please bring them back and add some way of having the user decide on the content of a slide besides the charts that are carried over. And then we also need a way of downloading the slide deck as a PowerPoint file. So let's see what comes up here after asking the model to do this. And by the way, maybe while it's writing code, you can use artifacts not only for coding, but also for creative writing or for writing in general. So what pops up on the right-hand side might also just be a shared document between yourself and the AI. Think of it maybe like Google Sheets, where you can collaborate with within the document. And the cool thing about this from a usability or UX perspective is that you can tweak only certain parts of your document. For example, let's say you have like 3 paragraphs and you like the first and the last one, but you don't like the middle one. You just highlight it and then tell the AI, keep the rest as it is, but rewrite the second paragraph. Or maybe just a couple of words or a sentence. So you would highlight that and then you can right click and actually like work together with the AI on shaping your document, which is kind of cool. I think there are lots of other stuff that you can do with artifacts, which I'm not that familiar yet. And now we seem to be. Are we stuck now? First version. Where are we? Can you put everything together in the app, please? I only see the code for the PowerPoint generator utility, so please put that into the app. And that's very well a skill issue here as well, because I just didn't really check out artifacts before. So, forgot to hit the send button. So let's see how far along we get. Also something that happens often if you don't constrain the model is that it might throw away all the stuff that came before, right? So it could be that this is happening right now, that we come up with a completely new app instead of just tweaking certain stuff. So for that particular reason or use case, maybe something like Bold or something like GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code, or Cursor, the Cursor IDE, or the Windsurf IDE are just better suited. And this is just here for demonstration purposes. And I hope we get back something that resembles the app structure that we had before, just with a download button. Then I would be happy. Yeah, that's good that it speaks of existing analytics features. So this one I might have to edit a little bit so we're not waiting through the entire generation process. And maybe while it's doing its thing, let's go over to Perplexity and ask, let's just take the comment here. Can I highlight this? Yeah. Can you recommend a tool for presentation that uses AI for both? And Perplexity is really nice. I really like it because it's said that in a couple of other videos already. It's positioning itself as an answering machine, not a search or answering engine, not a search engine, but it's basically using or combining ChatGPT with Google search, and it comes back with an actual answer where it links the sources that the answer is composed of. So one thing it identified is, for example, beautiful AI. I've heard of that before, but I never used it. Yeah, so I cannot really speak to it yet, but it seems to be a slide first thing. So basically similar to Gamma. And I'm assuming that the data analysis part needs to come before that, or you're on your own basically. Then stuff like Tableau, Power BI, I wouldn't, well, maybe it's not fair. Obviously, Tableau and Power BI also put AI into their product or try to. I haven't used Tableau in a while yet. I haven't used Power BI in a while yet, so I cannot really say where the tools stand. But going back maybe to and check where Claude is, still fixing errors. Again, to this point I was making earlier, I personally am a guy that uses tools when, like polished off-the-shelf tools, when A, he has to, or B, they're really good, or C, as kind of like a stepping stone to the solution that I eventually want to use and or create. And I do like the process of creating things as well. So I think I'm a bit biased here, right? So I'm more on the indie hacker side. Just go and try and do it. It has never been easier in my opinion. A bit oversimplified, but okay. So we asked to bring back the UI. We see it dropped a couple of stuff that was there before, but the data generation process still seems to work. Let's see if we can download the thing. And as I was afraid of, it's not, the actual export is not working. So the actual export to PowerPoint, the button is there, but the functionality is not there. Please do not change anything else in the app, but try to fix or create the actual export functionality so we can download a PowerPoint slide deck. But before that, before we download, also make it visible in the UI. And one thing I just think of, maybe we can create just a new Convo hier. Hi, ich hätte gerne eine App, in der Nutzer Themen einstellen können, die sie interessieren, und auf diese Themen soll man dann voten können, und dann, ja, erstmal das. So, I switched to German real quick, just to let me check my own sentence here, dann voten können. The thing I want to highlight here is that, or just wanted to highlight is, yes, Wispr Flow is able to also understand German and process German. We could have tried the same with French, Spanish. I speak a little bit of French and Spanish, but you don't want to hear that. English is already, it's okayish, I think, but I don't think I want to bother you with other languages. But obviously this works, right? So Jelle, as an answer to your question, yes, pretty much every LLM that's somewhat good is able to basically speak any language. English will always be the language that it understands best, but pretty much all the major languages at least are no problem anymore. So let's try and see. This is actually leading to somewhere, but I might need to save that for another video. And I'm starting to get, I'm not creative anymore. So let's just try a couple of stuff, and you can have like overarching topics, obviously, or apparently, and then, oh, that's nice. Cannot change it anymore. But let's say, I don't know, current state of LLMs / UIs. What I mean by that is ChatGPT versus Claude. And then you could go and upvote it or downvote it. That's kind of nice. That just took one line, basically, and I wouldn't have known how to create that in JavaScript, at least before. That's the code, but let's get back to our little actual app that we want to build. Well, while it's doing so, if it's still running, I might speak a little bit about why I want to create such a tool, because maybe I shouldn't have started this. I really like going down rabbit holes, right? What I mean by that is I'm driven by my curiosity. I'm really eager to jump onto a domain or a certain topic or a certain tool or a certain coding framework or something I read in a book or whatever, and then try to get the gist of it, try to understand it, try to use it. And that's what I mean. For me, that's kind of like a rabbit hole. And I basically, I'm jumping from rabbit hole to rabbit hole. I'm actually quite good at this. So sometimes I do get lost between rabbit holes or like dig in the wrong direction, and then my head starts to spin, and I think, oh my God, what have I got myself into? Let's put a pin in that and return to the data analytics app. So see if we can actually download it. So the slides are back, which is good. But the PowerPoint download button still isn't, right? So, and I think it doesn't make more sense to work on that, because that's the limitation of this UI, kind of like having Claude be contained in the UI. It is possible to create an app like that, but just not through the UI, but through their API and or with other tooling, like for example Bolt or the IDEs that I mentioned before. So then maybe let's round things off with, let me continue on the rabbit hole thing here. So yes, sometimes I do get lost, but I think I'm an expert rabbit holer, basically, if that makes any sense. And I usually get asked by people, hey, do you have a recommendation for this? Or I got this problem. Can you think of, do you know any tool that might help? Or whatever, right? So I'm basically a walking recommendation engine, and I try to like give away all of what I learned while rabbit holing, like freely. I enjoy that. I enjoy helping people, and I also dig community-based approaches, and I want to create a community around Django What the Fuck eventually, and also other stuff I'm doing with chaos maps. This would lead too far at this point. And a crucial part of that is the community being able to tell me what the next rabbit hole basically should be. And for that, I thought it would be really cool to have just a little app for that, right? Where you can put up topics, rabbit holes basically, and other people can say, hey, this is like a cool idea. I would also be interested in this rabbit hole. And this kind of like helps me to prioritize rabbit holes that I then go I take my backpack and my flashlight and my shovel or whatever, and I go down there. I try to understand the things, I try to measure or LiDAR scan the rabbit hole. Then I come up with a digest that I can present, and which is hopefully useful for people that were interested in the rabbit hole. That's the basic idea behind this. And but let's see. Too many ideas, too little time, too long. This video is already too long again, so let me try to circle back to your question, Jelle. So yes, there are tools, but probably not off-the-shelf tools that do both parts, like the data analysis part and the create slides part. But you are able to create them on your own, or have a look at what Windows is doing with their copilots. And this would basically answer a bit of your question with regards to tools that work on Windows. I actually have to check. Usually a lot of the tools, also the voice typing, there are voice typing tools also, for example, for Windows. This one particular tool that I'm using right now is not, I think, Wispr Flow. This is Mac OS only, I think. Yeah. This is Apple only, and I'm not sure about Super Wispr. Android is worse than trying to get something on Windows, right? So, but this also is only available on Mac OS for the moment. But this would be the first rabbit hole maybe to see what alternatives are available for Windows. One thing I know of, it's called Voice Notes, that is not really handling voice typing per se, but basically voice annotations or voice notes is voicenotes.com. This works in the browser and is quite nice, but it wouldn't copy the output or the transcript of what you just spoke to the tool into a text box, for example. That you would need to do yourself. Yeah, but let me check. And other than that, I hope I touched on most of the questions in a somewhat substantial or with some substance to it. And if you have follow-up questions, Jelle, you or other viewers, then please, I encourage you to go ahead and use the comment features. I do read every one of them. There are not that many yet, so it's not that hard, but I will try to do that as long as I can, to really read each and every comment. This is one of the things I promised myself, or promised to myself, to do as long as humanly possible, or maybe with the help of AI at some point, hopefully. So that's basically what I had in mind for this video. Really unstructured. Thus a bit long. Again, I will get to the point where some of the stuff is also scripted, so I kind of know in advance how long a video will be, and I'm aiming to something between, I don't know, like 10, 20 to 25 minutes. This is probably much longer. I don't even know how long it is, and I'm stopping now. So hope you got something out of this, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.